Today's video is going to be a bit shorter because these nails really put me through the ringer. They took me about 8 hours start to finish, and I know what you're thinking, and I agree 10,000%. And the funniest part is that the final product took me about an hour, hour and a half to do. What do I mean by that? How did that happen? Well, I was sitting there, barbecue sauce on my titties, playing through Resident Evil 2, specifically Claire's second run, which is superior to Leon's in every way. So sorry, Ada. And I suddenly wanted some G-Virus Petri dish bacteria nails, really gritty mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell type deal. So I put on my full cover stiletto tips, actually for once bothered to file the ridge and make it seamless, took my time reinforcing the structure and and proceeded to do some of the coolest grunge nails I've ever done, or at least the base. When I noticed the thumbnail is as long as the thumb itself, and that grossed me out. It looked wrong and feels wrong because what do you mean it's the exact same length as my thumb? But if I cut it down from this tip style and try to shape it back into a stiletto, it'll compromise the integrity, make it look wonky, so I was just going to leave it until I realized it's also crooked. And that's a double homicide and cannot be allowed, so I figured I could cut it down and disguise it with some nail art. And I remember the crescent moon comment I got and realized this is literally the perfect opportunity for it. So I cut it down and made a second discovery, which is that this is the perfect shape for cat ears. So what I do next is entirely predictable. I paint it black and then make a little skeleton kitty and a switch flips in my brain. What about a whole hand of we listen and we judge cats? But I've done such a good job on these stilettos, I won't scrap them for Meow nails, right? Wrong. But instead of Meow, I did a spin the wheel nails where I picked my nail shape, color, and theme randomly and got 2 nails deep. All the while, this little guy is just staring straight into my soul while I follow a ghost face tutorial from Nails by Dev, which I really loved and wanted to keep so bad. But random nails, they are not for the weak of heart, especially since I wear them for an entire week. So unless it's requested, I'm going to pass on that for now. Turns out I am absolutely weak of heart. That being said, I filed the art off a second time, cut them all down and hand filed in the general shape, and then perfected it with the E-file, and it officially cut its own cord. It's broken, won't even pretend to start, won't even fake me out with a little false start. Good thing I got the bulk of filing done, but removing the rest of these cracked, grown out gel on my right hand is going to be a nightmare. I know you can see it, I know you're looking at it, stop right now. But for now, I'm going to focus on doing these Halloween kitty nails, and before anyone else gets to say it, I'm going to say it first. Me. I know that the ruffles at the bottom of the sheet kitty looks like a ball sack. No, it wasn't on purpose, but does it make me laugh when I look at it? Absolutely. I did a ghost with boobies a very long time ago, and they made me very happy. I hope I still have the picture. If I do, I'll put it up here. If I can find, in general, older pictures of when I first started gel nails, I think I'd like to do a recreation of them, but in my style today. I feel like that could be very fun, but the problem is I never felt good about any of my nail art, so I didn't take pictures of any of my designs, which I really regret now, because that could have been a fun challenge against my past self and honestly just a good opportunity for content. Oh, while I'm doing these nails, I wanted to talk about contact dermatitis. I know, some of us are very aware of it and also very, very tired of hearing about it, but it is important and worth hearing about. So, you know, nail products in the nail industry, the nail industry in general is still growing, and our understanding of ingredients and acceptable risks are always changing, and so our methods should be changing too. Recently, I saw a TikTok that started with, "This is gonna piss a lot of people off," which is not the way I want to be given new information, by the way. I cannot be rage baited into any engagement. I am in love with the block button. Ooh, I'm really eating my words today. It has brought me so much peace. So choose your words wisely when it comes to the hobby I'm in. I'm pretty familiar with some of the personalities. We have really stuck up territorial people, and then people who want to educate and just genuinely want to go do good things, but they have a tone problem. So, I stuck around, and she discussed products and lamps and how the two may not be compatible with different brands. So, which is to say, if you use a lamp from Model 1s, you shouldn't use it to cure Beatles gels and vice versa, because the lamp was made with a specific brand in mind. And I don't know how I feel about that, especially when most lamps look like they've been drop shipped. I was under the impression that wattage was what mattered, and that's still the impression that I'm under, but I'd never given it any thought because I use Beatles lamp and majority Beatles products, so it doesn't really apply to me. But then Nailco, a nail tech and educator that I really trust, released a video of a client that had gone to her shop that had onycholysis on all of her nails, which is whenever the nail separates from the nail bed completely, which is my literal nightmare. The blade, where am I? The base product wasn't fully cured, and the nail plate absorbed that uncured product and caused an allergic reaction, which caused her nails to separate from her nail bed. And Anastasia brought up the fact that using a product for anything aside from its intended use, or if the lamp is too strong, can cure gels improperly and cause chemical burns that can also lead to the nail separating completely from the nail bed. So, if you use a base gel as a builder gel, it can allegedly not cure all the way through and cause big problems later on, if not immediately. Same for highly pigmented gels. Too much product and it being very opaque are two big villains for onycholysis. All of that is to say that I just don't know. So I changed my base routine again. I use 3 coats of air dry polish as a base coat, and then a HEMA-free peel-off base, and then a HEMA-free base gel, so that no product with HEMA in it touches my natural nail. Even without HEMA, don't get me wrong, gels are still toxic, but we're still taking out one of the most recognized baddies in the game, so just less risk is always better. I just honestly don't know enough. I have not read any peer-reviewed papers within the nail industry. I'm not educated. I'm not a nail tech. I just don't know enough. And I don't necessarily trust influencer techs or content creators who receive PR when they have, or just whenever someone has their own brand to push and a product to sell that especially if they have like codes with them where they get a kickback of money from it. Like, all of those things are good for the creator, but it muddies the water in who I really choose to put my trust in. And I have trusted Anastasia for a long time. Whenever she talks, it sounds like she really cares about her audience and wants to educate them and just wants people to be safe, because at the end of the day, the client that she had that had onycholysis, she did turn away from a further service. She would not put extensions on top of her nails, and that means that she's losing out on money. So, that's kind of like a plus in my book. When you're willing to do the right thing, even at your own expense, I'm sure that even without the client, she's going to be just fine. But it means something to me. So On the off chance that is true, I'm going to use those extra steps to reduce the risk. Better safe than sorry when it just comes to chemicals that you put on your body. So, speaking of sorry, I hope that didn't sound like a lecture. I've been told that I have a stern, no nonsense voice in the past. I was very monotone, and I ended up making a lot of autistic friends that had a lot of trouble with tone and expression. So I try to exaggerate the inflection of my voice so that it's easier to discern the mood, but it is easy to drone on and on when I'm basically talking to myself in an empty room. This is just something that I'm really passionate about, and I want people to do their own nail art and be their own nail techs, but I also want them to be really safe. And I think that if this is a true thing, it's something that not a lot of people consider and should probably just be aware of within the nail sphere, just in case. You know, new things come out all the time, the opinions, the routines, the standard in the industry changes. So it's just a good thing to keep an eye out for and just be aware of in general. I think I have once more fallen into the camp of I am in love with the design. It is so cute. I love all of the kitties, but it's too short. And my hand looks wide and unflattering. Crescent shape is fun, but it's also just a square with a fancy curve. And I hate short square nails so much. Short nails in general on me are not flattering, especially whenever it's on my hand that has a lot of tattoos, because I feel like with all that stuff going on, longer nails and thinner nails, more narrow, just look better on this hand in general. I've noticed that, regular nails on my right hand look just fine, but anyways, the crescent shape is fun, but it's maybe not for me, but especially, you know what, maybe I'm muddying the waters because this whole process took me about 8 hours. I went from like 12 or 1 o'clock all the way to 9 with breaks and a lunch in between, but that was ridiculous. That was insane. Anyways, which one was your favorite? Mine was probably the snake on the pinky nail. I love that red and black, and also I think I did the best face on it. It looks the most stare into your soul, Anyways, like and subscribe for more nail content. I upload every week. We listen and we do judge here. I hope you have a great day or night, wherever you are, whenever you are, and I will see you in the next one.